It's not easy being a UFC fighter. And yes, everyone knows this. It's hard being a UFC fighter, but it's also hard selling yourself as a fighter. Now imagine this. You're a UFC fighter. You're about to make your UFC debut. Or you're just about to fight another UFC fight. And you're nervous. You have to cut weight. You have to train hard. You have to nurse any injuries that you might have. And most importantly, you have to win the fight. Because half your purse relies on you winning the fight. So all these nerves, all this anxiety, all of this stuff adds up. And on top of that, you're supposed to be an entertaining fighter. You're supposed to be great on the mic. You're supposed to have all this material that you can say at press conferences and on media day. So a lot of fighters, you see them on media day, they're just like saying the same things. Oh, I think it's going to be a good fight. Yeah, I think it'll be enjoyable. I think I'll win. I'm going to try hard. I trained hard. Because they're barely even there. They're cutting weight. You know how hard it is to even think when you cut weight? So the last thing on these people's mind is coming up with this creative trash talk that's going to get a bunch of views on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok. And even when you come up with the trash talk, is it even going to be good? Because look at Colby Covington. He comes up with trash talk all the time, but it's really mid at best. Speaking of Colby, imagine if you can't back up the trash talk. You get absolutely embarrassed online. It happened to Colby Covington, and you guys remember Alexander Hernandez? When he was trash talking Donald Cerrone, calling him an old, washed up fighter, and then he got destroyed by Donald Cerrone? That's what Alex Hernandez is known for. Trash talking Donald Cerrone and then getting humbled. So why would you, as a UFC fighter, risk getting that negative attention? Because you're gonna get tons of negative comments. You're gonna get so many people trashing you. You're gonna get so many memes made about you. But if you're quiet and reserved and humble, you're gonna be forgotten. No one's gonna even talk about your fight if you win or you lose. But that's the problem. No one talks about your fight. No one cares. You don't get any money. You're just some, UFC guy no one knows about. And that's not good either, because if no one knows about you, good or bad, no one's gonna watch your fights. So why am I yapping about trash talk? Because trash talk is one of the main things you need to do to become a UFC star. You might disagree with that, but who's the biggest star in the UFC? It's Conor McGregor. By far, and he trash talked all the time. Even number 2 and 3 most famous UFC fighters of all time, they're only popular because they had a fight with Conor McGregor. Even Jon Jones, Jon Jones didn't fight Conor McGregor, but dude, his trash talk is legendary. People love Jon Jones' trash talk. He's a bad guy, and his trash talk was pretty violent, especially against Daniel Cormier. So trash talk is an absolutely huge part of the equation if you want to be a UFC star. Second, is if you have good performances. Because yes, if you can trash talk, you can get people interested in your fight. But if your fights are terrible, you can't become that superstar of the UFC. Look at Colby Covington. He had the trash talk down pretty well, but he had absolutely terrible performances. He was really, really boring in most of his performances. A lot of casuals have only watched the Usman fights 1 and 2, but watch any other fight besides that, and they're terrible. They're boring. It's a wrestling heavy style, not a ground and pound heavy style, but a get you against the cage, hold you there, pretty much do nothing. That's his style. A terrible, boring style. Or let's talk about a new one, Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland's pretty popular, but he also has really boring fights. Now, I know you guys are going to say, but the Adesanya fights were really good. That was entertaining. That's one fight, guys. One fight. Watch his other fights. I watched his other fights. They're boring. They're boring. He's a really patient, calculated, boxer. It's not, a crazy style. It's pretty basic as well. Basic as in, the attacks that he throws out. It's a lot of jabs, twos, and teeps. But Sean Strickland has a great personality. People relate to Sean Strickland. People love his trash talk. They love how real he is. He's gritty. He's a real guy, American. But his fights are really boring. Even his fight against Adesanya is kind of boring. The first round, the knockdown, that was a great highlight. But besides that, it was kind of like a systematic breakdown. Not anything to write home about. Kind of boring, but the story was there. That's why that fight was so good, because the story was there. This unbeatable Adesanya coming off the Alex Pereira win gets beaten by the underdog, Sean Strickland. It was a good story. So the recipe to become a UFC star is you have to have great trash talk, you have to be great on the mic, you have to be charismatic, have a great personality, and you have to have really entertaining performances. So how many fighters in the UFC have we had that fit that description? One. And it was Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor perfectly fits that. He was charismatic. He had great trash talk. He had amazing performances. He was a finisher. He's only had 2 decisions in his career, I think. 2 freaking decisions, and those decisions were really entertaining. The Nate Diaz decision win, and the win over Max Holloway, that was a decision. He also has an entire country behind him. He literally united his country around him, his personality, him as a fighter, and that's how he became so big. No one in the UFC has even gotten close to his popularity. Besides, I guess maybe Khabib, but the reason Khabib became so popular is because he destroyed and dominated Conor McGregor when it was Conor McGregor's return. And then he proceeded to have 2 more amazing high-level performances, and then he left. But Khabib is number 2, and the only reason Khabib was ever that big of a star is because he fought Conor McGregor. No one else even holds a candle to Conor McGregor's star power. People have tried, but they failed. Adesanya failed. His trash talk is cringe, and he does weird things with his puppy. Do you guys remember that stuff? The puppy Adesanya thing? Have you seen Conor do anything like that? And then, Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley. He lets his wife hook up with other guys. Oh, sorry, he used to. But that, you think that guy could be a superstar? Sean O'Malley, his press conferences are pretty cringe, and his only fans are, giga casuals or 12-year-olds. But Sean O'Malley does have really good performances. I actually love watching him fight. But on the mic, he's kind of mid, and he's kind of emotional, too. Did you see that thing with the MMA Guru? They got in a weird, beef. Why do you care about MMA Guru, dude? He's just a poor wheelchair-bound guy. He just likes making UFC videos. So, I don't know why you gotta make fun of a poor guy like that. But yeah, all these people that the UFC tried to push, tried to make superstars, they all failed. Do you guys remember when they were trying to push Francis Ngannou as a superstar? Dude, I mean, he had amazing performances. He was KOing everybody, but he's also really boring. He's humble, he's nice, I like Ngannou, but he's very boring on the mic. Jon Jones actually could have been Conor McGregor level, but I honestly believe all the controversy he's been in, I know Conor's been in controversy as well, but not on the same level as Jon Jones, because Jon Jones is running into pregnant women, he's unstable, he is a steroid cheat. There's a lot of controversy with Jon Jones, and I know Conor's been in his fair share as well, but Jon Jones is just a little bit more extreme. But yeah, that's why it's so hard to be a UFC star. You have to do basically everything right. You have to have the right backstory, you have to have the right trash talk and performances. It's really, really hard. On top of that, you also have to win your fights and make weight and train really hard. So it's really, really hard. If you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the LSFC YouTube channel. Goodbye.